Do you know that I got invited to a conference in Paris to speak on issues like that, on the economy, you know?
Sure.
I'm not just a DJ, you know? I there's more to me than that, you know?
Hi, this is Punk Mbedzi, and welcome to Music and Other Stuff, where we talk about everything music related and other things that you need to know about music. A lot of people needed to adjust to the new normal, and even despite of that, we've seen a rise of so much talent in the world. We've seen people become global sensations. We've seen the rise of so many artists, and today I'm joined by someone who has also seen her career soar throughout the pandemic. Desiree.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So just to kickstart this whole thing, I knew before you used to DJ because you used to come to a lot of shows, you know, but for people who don't know you and people who are wondering, you know, just take us through your DJing journey and what is your why, you know, to why you went from being a music lover to a DJ.
Yeah. Yeah, like as you're saying, I mean, I was at all the shows.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was a couple of years ago, like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was still in university.
Yeah.
I was attending all the shows. Whenever Punk was playing in Brahm, I was there, front row, cheering him on, you know. That was my thing. And I started becoming like a familiar face.
Yeah.
At all these deep house, Afro house gigs. And that's sort of like how I fell in love with the music. Mm-hmm. And, you know, eventually I found myself collecting so much music that I was like, okay, maybe I should do a young mix on SoundCloud, even if it's just for myself, you know, even if it's just for some friends, you know. And yeah, that's what I did. And yeah, they were gaining traction for some odd reason. I mean, I was doing them on virtual DJ on my laptop, but they were really gaining traction. And yeah, I don't know, they just
went up from there.
Things just escalated from there. But I really think what really helped me was being a familiar face at parties. You know, it sort of made sense when I started wanting to be a DJ. It was like, 100%. Okay, we know this girl. She loves music. She's obsessed with the sound. And it kind of made sense, you know. And yeah, and I would say my why for DJing is, I'm a music lover. I've always been, even before I discovered house music, music has always been my outlet. It has always provided me with some sort of an escape, you know, from whatever I'm feeling in my life, whether I'm sad, whether I'm happy. Music has always been there for me. It's always been consistently there for me. And yeah, I'm very grateful to be actually turning it into a career. Yeah.
And it's so amazing because like today, in the day we live in, you know, everything is impacted by social media, you know, and whether good or bad, it's impacted in some sort of way, you know. In what ways, you know, did you have to be deliberate about certain things, you know, or strategic in order for you to be where you are, you know, to grow your brand in the right direction, you know?
I mean, obviously it's important to sort of know what you want. And what you want to gain out of your journey or your career. And also to have, I mean, I have people that I look up to, you know, and I observe like the moves that they make or how they handle their social media, you know, the types of content that they post. And I think that has really helped me throughout my journey because I started off as a model and, you know, I sort of had to change the content that I produce on social media and sort of divert attention away from the fashion and the model and focus it on music, you know. But at the end of the day, like I'm myself, you know. I don't want to be like someone else. 100%. I embrace who I am, and I think that has worked. You know, I don't really try very hard for my social media. I post what I post. But at the end of the day, I'm just myself.
Does that limit your voice? You know, I'm just thinking about this right now. Does that limit your personal voice to have a say in, you know, with the social matters, you know, because social media, everyone can say someone can just wake up today and be like, this is what I think about this.
Yeah.
But now you have this responsibility. Does that affect also that, you know, you have to be very careful? I mustn't say this.
No, definitely. I mean, I don't know if you know, but like I studied politics, philosophy, and economics. So I have an opinion on a lot of societal matters. You know, I have my opinions. And before I actually got into the DJing space, I was very, very vocal about like my political views or feminism or, you know, climate issues, whatever may be going on, you know.
Yeah.
I do have an opinion, and I've found that the more that I've been growing in the industry in the music industry, I've found it increasingly difficult to sort of express that, you know. I mean, yes, there are things that I express because I don't want to be like a sheep and just, you know, follow what everyone says, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to be more cautious because I know that, you know, I'm followed by so many people who don't even know who I am, you know, like the other day, for example, on Twitter, I can't remember what I said. It was something to do with Corona and the variant and stuff, and just the implications of what's happening with the travel bans on economies and so forth, and the entertainment industry specifically. And someone was so rude. They responded to my comment, and I remember at the end of the sentence, they were like, stick to DJing,
sure.
You know? And I was like, do you know that like I was chairperson of an economic society at Wits University? Do you know that I got invited to a conference in Paris to speak on issues like that, on the economy, you know?
Sure.
I'm not just a DJ, you know? I there's more to me than that, you know? And yeah, it's just unfortunate. People are so quick to be like keyboard warriors. They don't know anything about you, and they're just quick to judge you. So yeah, no, definitely I try to be cautious about what I put out there. And it's unfortunate because I don't want to be like that. Like I'm a very vocal person. I have my opinions, but I'm aware of the fact that it could impact me negatively if I say certain things.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And it's very unfortunate, you know, and people like everyone else in every other industry can have a view or a say about what's happening in the world, but it's sort of as if like you should just stick to entertaining these people, you know, because that's how people view it as. Like
we're one dimensional, like, you know, that's all there is to you.
Yeah.
Entertaining people, and no, that's not true.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you actually mentioned that you went to Paris before, but you've also managed to go to Europe for your DJing as well, besides going for the very serious stuff. Well, DJing is serious. It's serious, yeah. But, you know, you've managed to travel the world, you know, you've DJed in Europe as well. What, I know for a fact that the scene is completely different from what we see here, you know. What are some of the things that you've picked up, have noticed, and can say is different from how our local scene is from Europe, between Europe and South Africa? Or let me just say the rest of the world.
And
then South Africa.
Look, I mean, there are differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's more differences than similarities, actually. I would say that depending on the kind of music that is being played at an event, okay, let me just focus on like deep house, Afro house, you know, in that scene, because that's the scene that's a bit closer to the kind of music that is being listened to overseas at parties, you know. There is a big difference in terms of the setup of the events, in terms of how the people respond to the music, you know. I just find that here there's a culture of being chilled, you know, like we are chilled people as South Africans, you know. So there's a culture of being chilled. People want to sit down. They want to have a place to sit. They want to have a
VIP.
table, VIP, to smoke their habli, you know, to put their bottles there, you know. Whereas in Europe, I found that it's more about the music. people, they really give the DJ a lot of attention. You'll find a big warehouse with 10,000 people and all of them are standing watching the DJ, you know, and we barely have that here, you know. So yeah, that's definitely a big difference. And I think we tend to, there's so much talent in South Africa. We have so many amazing DJs that we take them for granted.
Yeah.
Whereas overseas, I'm not saying there's not as many talented DJs, but I've just found that when South African DJs go abroad, they amaze the international crowds
so much,
that's why they get so much attention when they're there, because they're bringing something different to the table, you know. And I think we just tend to take our talent for granted, and only when people make it overseas, that's when we start taking them seriously, which is a bit sad.
Yeah, maybe it's a familiarity thing. You know, they're like, I know Desiree, man. We used to go to the same high school,
exactly.
You know? So it's unfortunate that people, you know, have that kind of view as well. And, you know, you've played at so many shows, and there's no doubt that this space, the scene that we're in, is male dominated, you know. It's unfortunate that it's that way, but it's where we are right now, you know. In what ways do you think people like me, you know, speaking for the men, you know, and people that are in the scene can help make it more inclusive, and not even out of pity and be like, no, we just want to include females, but make it a safer space for women to want to DJ and be part of the scene and grow it as well? Because I don't think women should just, you know, be included just to add, to fill, but also grow the scene, because I think there's other things you're still going to break, like boundaries still going to break that haven't been broken before. So in what ways can we, you know, ensure that that happens?
Well, first and foremost, like, promoters just need to book women. That's the first start. You need to book women, you know. What I found, like, for example, when I was playing in the UK, I played at this festival, and majority of the lineup had like women on it, you know.
Sure.
And generally in the UK, there's this atmosphere where venues, clubs, festivals, whatever, they're really taking this thing seriously, and they make sure that they have diversity on their lineups, because if they don't, it's sort of like, they're sort of like looked down upon. It's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. It's not reflective of the demographics of society.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know? And it's like there's some sort of an implicit quota, you know, that no, we can't just have men only on the lineup, you know. But then again, I get your point about like booking women out of pity. I think that's also not a good thing. You know, you shouldn't just put women on the lineup just because
it's a filler.
You know, it's a filler, you know, and also just give her like an opening slot only, you know, that's the thing. Because that's what's happening here. Usually when they book a woman, she'll play like opening slots and then, you know. So yeah, I think, I don't know, it's difficult, but we also need to like look at what's going on in other countries, you know, sort of like take lessons from there, you know, take lessons, whether it's negative, if something negative is happening, we need to do positive things, you know, counter that. And if there's positive things that are happening there, we need to try to like emulate that. And yeah, like in the UK, honestly, it's absolutely phenomenal, the diversity in lineups. And, you know, like, just stop booking women on Women's Month only. Like, why? And that's my thing. Like, why is it that when it's August, everyone is enthusiastic about booking women, but throughout the year, no one is interested?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, like if you can have a whole month where you're consistently booking women for that month, different women from all walks of life, and then in September you're going to be like, oh no, but there's not a lot of female DJs. Come on. Like, no.
If they can do it in the month, they can do it in the year.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. So people just really need to be more intentional about booking women. Like, and there's many amazing DJs, you know, who are women that can be booked. And yeah, people just need to pull their socks up. I really don't know what else to say. I mean, we can't go to the government and be like, no, force venues to book women, you know, like, it's at the end of the day, it's up to an individual. And yeah, and also it's important for us to be having conversations like this, you know? Yeah.
Man, that's so true, you know, and very unfortunate, but I think it can be changed.
Can I add?
Yes.
Can I add a point?
Yes.
Actually, I think one reason in South Africa that people don't book women is because there is this idea that because there aren't as many women who produce music, you know, there aren't as many women who produce music, so we can't book them. And the men are producing music, so we book them, you know, which me personally, I don't understand at all. I don't understand at all, because the DJ's job and the producer's job is
totally different.
Two different things. Okay?
Yeah.
Just because you're an amazing producer does not mean you're a great DJ. My favorite DJ is not my favorite producer. My favorite producer is not my favorite DJ.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not saying there aren't producers out there who are great DJs. Of course there are. But it's not like guaranteed. It's not like just because someone is giving you hits doesn't mean they're going to get to your venue and actually make people happy.
Sure.
You
That's
know?
so true, yeah.
So we really need to sort of revisit what is the definition of a DJ. Is the definition of a DJ someone who's making their own music and comes to the venue and performs their music only? Or is the definition of a DJ to get to a venue, read a crowd, and play music based on the vibe, based on what you know, what the crowd is enjoying or whatnot, you know? And I think it's definitely the latter, you know, and in order to please a crowd or even a promoter at their event, you don't necessarily have to be a producer.
Yeah. You need to know how to DJ well.
You need to know how to DJ well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, that's a very valid point, you know, and like you mentioned something right now, you talked about like being able, as a DJ, you need to be able to read a crowd and all that, you know. Do you think it is important for DJs to stick to one particular sound, you know, or should they have that freedom of dabbling into other sounds, dependent on the type of crowd they're DJing to? Or, cause I know some people who are like, hey man, I don't care. I'm playing this sound. If people are stiff about it, they'll have to adjust. Some people go there, like, okay, this works or whatever.
You see, like you can, of course you can stick to a certain like genre. Maybe like if you're saying, okay, I'm playing hip hop, I'm going to play hip hop, right? I'm not going to play Amapiano. I'm not going to play house. That I understand and I agree with, like, I do the same. But within hip hop, there's different subgenres and sounds, you know. You're not going to get, if you're booked to play an opening set at like 12 p.m., you're not going to get there and like, I don't know what's the most famous hip hop song currently, you know? You're not going to get there and play like the number one hit on radio at 12 p.m. when you're starting and people are walking into the venue, you know? And that's the thing. It's your responsibility as a DJ to know which slot you're playing at, who's playing before you, who's playing after you, you know? So yeah, if you're a hip hop DJ, there's different subgenres. I mean, don't play like the number one hit on radio when you're playing opening sets. Play maybe like old school hip hop or something, you know? And the same goes for house DJs. Like, if you're like, if you're like an Afro tech like DJ, it's amazing, but you can't get there at 12 p.m. and be bumping like 123, 124 BPM, like, like, no, you know, the event needs to build up. You know? Yeah.
Well, that's so true, man. And DJing is an art, it's a skill, you know, that you need to be aware of the whole event entirely.
Exactly.
You know, it's not just about my slot. I fit in. I came there.
Exactly.
It's a cash transaction. I came to DJ. I'm leaving. You know,
and that is goes back to that point that I was making about being a producer and being a DJ, right? What I've observed sometimes is that people who are amazing at production, obviously they want to showcase the amazing music that they're making, right? But if you're making like 124 BPM, like peak time, midnight music, you can't get there and play an entire set with just that at 12 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's why you also need to be a DJ. You need to listen to other people's music. You need to collect music, you know, so that you can play well balanced it, unless you're like an amazing, like, you know, dynamic producer who can produce like soulful house, deep house, and all of this, and have, you know, music of your own for different times of the day. Then good for you. But most producers aren't like that. So you need to listen to other people's music.
Sure.
You need to play other people's music in your set. And that's why there's a difference between being a producer and being a DJ.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and you not only are a DJ, you know, you, like you mentioned, you're a model as well. Not was, you still are a model.
Sometimes.
How do you manage to grow the brands independently? You know, I know like some decisions you're going to make to push the Desiree, the music producer, the DJ, forward. Some decisions you're going to make to push the model forward, you know. What sacrifices did you have to find yourself making, you know, to be able to do what you love, which is music at the moment? How did you, you know, like mold this whole cocktail of, you know, you being different things, you know, and yeah.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, something needs to take priority.
Yeah.
You know? Something needs to take priority. And since I've started DJing, the music has been taking priority. Like if you check my Instagram and stuff, like I mostly post about music. Yes, sometimes I will post like a photo shoot that I did or whatnot, but something you need to be, I don't know, people need to sort of like know you for something, but then underneath that you can also be like, okay, and
this is what I also do.
This is what I also do, which I think is also important, because I personally think if you're just like music, it can be a bit boring sometimes. You know, like it can be a bit boring sometimes. So, and especially in the world that we live in currently, you know, there's so many DJs. There's millions and millions of DJs, especially in South Africa, you know. So what is going to make you stand out from the pack?
Yeah, that's something to consider, you know, especially because the current age that we're living in is like influential. You know, you need to be so many things. You need to have so many things up your sleeve, you know. It takes me to this thought as well, and this question that, like, do you think a lot of people don't know, like a lot of DJs don't know that, like, you need to be very deliberate about building a brand, you know, like, when you're a DJ right now, you're just not a DJ. They're booking you. You're building a brand. You know, there's certain care that you put into that. You know, in what ways did you need to learn to take care of your DJing brand? You know, because you, like you said, you used to, like I said, you were a model first, and you were presenting yourself as a model, but in what ways did you need to also start taking care of your brand as a DJ as well, and do things to push that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the obvious thing is that I started posting more and more about that, you know. But I also think that it's important to show a bit of personality, you know.
100%.
To show a bit of personality, you know, to make people who are following you, who love you for music, you know, make them like get to know you better. If you're into like sport, if you do soccer as a hobby, like show that on your social media. If you love reading, whatever, you know, like have some personality. I mean, it's, you know, like if you want to build, like, especially for social media. And I think it is a bit unfortunate because not everyone has that personality of like being super active on social media and stuff. Like it doesn't come naturally to everyone. And in that case, then you're really going to have to put yourself out of your comfort zone and put an effort into that. Like just show us, we want to get to know you more. Like, you know, people want to get to know you more. Like, and that's the only way also that your brand will just grow into like a holistic brand, you know. And I know it's sad. I find it sad that we need to put so much effort into social media when you're doing music. You know, like, why can't you just do music and everyone loves you like back in the day? But that's just how things are. And if you're going to stay in that mentality of, oh no, I'm just a musician only, then, I mean, it works for some people. But for the most part, like, yeah, you need to put a bit of an effort into your image, your brand. You need to think about it, what you put out there, you know.
And there are artists like that are out there that see you, they've seen your growth. Like, I'm sure there are people that have been following you, they're seeing like, this girl, I saw her start her DJing career and now she's, you know, she's going to be playing in other countries alongside big artists, you know, she's living her dream, you know. But they don't know the challenges that you face, you know, like it hasn't been, you know, sunshine and roses, you know. No. What are the realities and what people need to know that these are the challenges that you had to face or are possibly going to face if you're doing what you're doing?
Okay, first and foremost, the biggest challenge of being a DJ or a musician in general, especially in South Africa, is finances. Finances. There's so much financial instability, you know, and there's only a few DJs in this country who are able to sustain themselves solely from music. People have part-time jobs, people have 9-to-5s, side hustles, are doing influencer gigs on top of that, you know, just to be able to make ends meet, you know. And I just want to caution people from just seeing like what we post and thinking, oh my gosh, like she's traveling, like going to so many countries, playing with this DJ. She must be making a lot of money, you know. And it's not necessarily the case, you know. And especially more so in South Africa, if you're not like doing overseas gigs and stuff. And okay, let me just say, in a certain genre, like the genre that I play, like house music, and that you play, there are not a lot of opportunities for DJs in that space, you know? Like, there are not a lot of parties that are booking those kinds of DJs, you know? So it's really difficult to sort of sustain yourself, you know? Like, I know very, very few people in our scene who are doing music and music only. You know, and like, I would say that's definitely the biggest challenge, you know, devoting so much time and energy towards your passion and doing it on a full-time basis and trying to live, trying to pay rent, trying to, you know, do things that normal people do. Yeah.
It's a lot of work. No, man, that's so true, you know, and I think it's very important that people know the risks as well. Not just the glitz, the glamour, the lights and all that. But yeah, to wrap it up, what can we expect from Desiree in the future? What can we expect from you in the future?
Man, I hate questions like that because, like, what if I say something and then it doesn't happen?
Hey man, you don't have to say, I'm going to be playing at this party. No. What's the direction like you want to see Desiree go into? What are the things you want to start dabbling into, you know?
I mean, I definitely want to release my own original music. That's definitely something that is on the top list of my priorities. I mean, like, I really can't think of anything else. I think also I just want to sort of provide a voice more and more for like marginalized communities in the house music space, you know, whether it's women, queer people and stuff, you know. I really feel like there's a gap in the market, you know, that really needs to be filled. And yeah, like, I mean, I started a little property called Boys Club. I mean, we haven't been very active. We haven't been very active because, I mean, let's be honest, it's been difficult to be active in the past 2 years. And we literally started it in March last year.
Sure.
Then it was COVID, you know.
Sure.
So it's really been difficult to get the momentum of hosting events. But yeah, definitely that's something that I want to work more on. Booking, being intentional about having lineups with a lot of talented women.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, man. I'm looking forward to everything that you're going to be doing.
Thank you.
I'm really glad that you joined me today and you really shared your perspective of what's been happening in your life. I think people needed to hear it from your mouth, you know, and I told you when you started, I'm like, I really do think you're going to amaze a lot of people. You're going to just do a lot of amazing stuff. Can't wait to see what you're about to do. And thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. And I just also want to thank you for believing in me when I was still starting out, because you were one of the first people to actually like give me an opportunity at your events. And yeah, I think that really did a lot for me. And yeah, I really, really appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.